So those are the three fundamental economic questions that we need to ask in order for us to try and manage these resources that we have, which we said they are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. Now, what do we learn from this? As households who own the factors of production, as households who own the factors of production, we receive rent, wages, interest, and profit in return for our factors of production. Now, let's look at the economy. How then does it function? How does the economy function? Now, you will realize that based on this observation that we have made of the factors of production, there are three major economic flows, right? It falls under the market mechanism, right? In an economy, there are three economic flows, right? And these are similar. They should be the same, right? If we were to check the amount of production in the economy, if we were to check, so there are three economic flows, or right, three flows in the economy, which is your production, your income, and your spending. What are we saying about this? We're saying in an economy, there's production, right? And when you produce, you are employing all your four. What are you employing? Your four factors of production. And what do you get by producing? You get income. Are we together? By producing, you are getting income because you're getting rewards for your factors of production. What do you do with that income? You spend it. Where are you spending it? On the goods that have been produced. Are we together? So these are the three major flows in the economy. So we can look at it this way. If you look at production and spending, it's two sides of the same coin. Is it that not so?
Yes.
The goods that are produced and consumed, which represents spending by households, right? The goods that we produce in the economy, the value of the production should be the same as the value of spending. Spending is monetary value. This is how you spend. You spend, money goes to there, but the goods go to there. So it's the same thing. It's an exchange. Goods for money, right? Good for money. If you produce with your factors of production, you get income that you will then spend. So it's a cycle. It's a flow, and it's an ever flowing system. So there's production of goods and services, and there's spending of which represents financial payments. Now, from the economic flows, what do we learn? We learn that households, as they own the factors of production, they are trading with firms. So there are two groups that we have identified already. There's what? Number one, there's households in a circular flow, in an economy. We have households. Who else do we have in that economy? Based on the three major economic flows?
Firm.
Firms. And we also have the government. The government, they take part in this economic flow. Remember, why do we say the government? The government also buys, they are the largest employer, so they are buying labor. Am I right? Isn't government the largest employer in the economy? To a certain extent. So they also get labor. They also get labor from households. They also buy goods and services. Doesn't government buy goods and services? Yes, no?
Yes, they buy them.
They buy from firms.
Yes, they do.
So they are a market participant. Now, households sell their factors of production. It means we have a market for factors of production. What is a market? It is a place where there is an exchange. It can be a physical place, it can be an imaginary place, it can be a virtual place. Where there is an exchange, we call it a market. Now, households, they sell their factors of production in the factor market. In the what? In the factor market. Firms sell their goods and services in the goods market. It's a goods and services market, but we usually call it just the goods market, but it's a goods and services market, right? So this is the secular flow of income and spending that we are learning in the economy. Households, they supply their factors of production, which are your land, labor, capital, and enterprise, to firms in the factor market. Whereas firms supply goods and services in the goods market, right? The government, like I said, they are buying from labor or factors of production from households. They are buying also from firms, right? Now, we are going to simplify it. Why are we saying simple? Why are we saying simple? Because there is an international market. There's a foreign market that we can include here. There is a foreign market that we can include, right? Or international market, right? Or international market. But what we want to simplify it and not include the foreign market, because when we include the foreign market, it becomes an open economy. But now, for the purposes of understanding, we will stick to the closed economy, which is simply household, firms, and the government. We ignore this part, the participation of the foreign market. The reality is we have to include it. But for simplification purposes, we need to understand the simple circular flow of income and spending, right? In the simple circular flow, we've got firms, right? We said we've got firms and households, right? We said in economics, we can explain principles in words, in a graph, in equations, and all that. Now we are doing a table or a visual of the simple circular flow of income and spending. Households, they own the factors of production, right? Households own the factors of production. So they will sell their factors of production to firms in the factor market. What is a factor market? Someone? I explained it. Someone? To recap, what is a factor market?
Market for factors of production.
Market for factors of production. So we are saying households take their factors of production there, right? So for illustration purposes, we'll just write land, labor, capital, and enterprise, right? This is going to the firms, right? It's going to the firms. So red means that households are selling their factors of production through the factor market to firms, what do they get in return? What do they get in return? So firms will pay. Firms will pay. What are they paying? What are they paying? The reward for the factors of production. We said number one is rent, interest, what else? Wages and profit. Right? So, can you see the exchange that is taking place there? Can you see the exchange?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So firms are paying households for their factors of production. So the blue represents a financial flow, right? The blue represents a financial flow. So it's firms spending on the factor market. Now, on the other hand, we have firms selling their goods and services in the goods market. That flow, right, is going that way. So these are goods and services. Right, goods and services. And what do households do for those goods and services? They are paying for the goods and services, right? So money leaves households to firm, right? In the form of what? Revenue. Revenue. Sales revenue. That's how firms make money, isn't it so?
Yeah.
Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Right. Can we see that this is the circular flow?
Yeah.
Sales revenue represents spending by households. Rent, interest, and profit, these represent spending by firms. Is that part clear?
Yes.
Physical goods, right, move in the opposite direction. Goods and services are moving like this. Factors of production are moving like this. So goods and services and factors of production are doing that direction. Whereas your financial flows are moving in the opposite direction, right? Your financial flows are moving in the opposite direction. So technically, you can say what households earn here, they are earning, right? They take it to there. So it's the same money. It's the same money. Isn't it so?
Yes. So it's circulating.
It's circulating. That's why we call it the circular flow of income and spending. This side, it's income. That side, it's spending for households. This side, it's income for firms, and it's spending for firms. Right? Both households and firms are getting income and they are spending it. Are we together? All right. Now, we also have got the government. We also have got the government. The government. We said the government is the largest employer, right? So they also get factors of production. Don't they get factors of production also from the goods market, from the factor market? Yes, no?
They do.
They do. They go to the factor market and buy. And what do? They pay households for their land, labor. So it's spending. It's government spending, right? It's government spending. This money is going to the households, going to the factor market and to the household. It's going like this, right? So money is going from there to there and there in the same way to household. The government is spending there. Those who listen to the finance minister, he talks about the wage bill. There is your wage bill because they're the largest employer. The government, we say they also buy goods and services. They also buy goods and services in the factor market. So goods and services flow from the firm to the government through the goods market. And again, government pays for that. Again, it's what? Government spending. Right? The government buys. Think of is there anyone who works for the government? You buy stationery, buy toiletries, you buy services, you buy. There's a lot of things that the government does. So they pay for that, which represents government spending. And it's going to where? It's going to the firms. Tenders are an example of the government being a market participant in the goods market, right? Where you get the tenders and you're buying goods and services, and also you're buying factors of production from firms. And not only that, we've got the government also providing public goods and services, right? The government also provides public goods and services. The government also provides public goods and services to firms and households, right? So these are public goods and services. Public goods and services. What are public goods and services, someone? What are public goods and services?
Road,
Roads, yes. Number 2,
hospital,
healthcare,
Healthcare,
education,
Education.
security, right? Those are examples of public goods and services. And how do we pay the government? There has to be a financial flow, right? There has to be a financial flow. There has to be a financial flow
Via taxes.
via taxes. Via taxes to the government. Via taxes. Right? Now you can see that there is always a flow, right? So households work for the government. So we're here, households work for the government. They get paid, they pay taxes. Isn't it a circular flow? Yes,
There is.
it
Yeah.
is. Government buys goods and services from the firms, and the firms pay taxes. That's a flow. Firms buy or pay households for their factors of production and its income to households. They spend it on the goods market, which means it's going to the firms. That's a circular flow, evolving circular flow. That's why we call it the circular flow of income and spending. The circular flow of income and spending. Are we together?
Yes.
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 Understanding this part will introduce us to the world of demand and supply. Right? These markets, they are operating in a very intricate manner, especially when we look at this part. There are two parts, factor market and goods market. Our module focuses on the understanding of the workings of the goods market, but I will just give you a teaser for the factor market. We are saying when firms come to this in the factor market, please take note of this. In the factor market here, firms demand, please hear me again, in the factor market, what do firms demand? The factors of production. Whereas households supply the factors of production. In the factor market, firms demand and households supply. Who owns the factors of production? Households. So households become suppliers of the factors of production and firms become the demanders of the factors of production. The opposite is true for goods and services in this meeting place. Firms demand goods and services and households. So the firms supply goods and services and households demand. This is then what we want to look at, right? This is then what we want to look at. Is there any questions on the circular flow of income and spending? And I will, in the next session, I will start with past exam paper questions that talk about the simple circular flow of income and spending. I'll come up with a teaser of questions that look at unit 1, 2, and 3, because we are done. Unit 1, 2, and 3.
Sorry, Mr. S.
Yes.
Is it possible if you could just say the last part again of this circular flow?
Where I was saying in the goods market,
Yes, yes.
households demand goods and services. Firms supply goods and services. We want to then, in our unit 4, understand the workings of the goods market. In the goods market, households demand, firms supply. Any
And then
question?
the same, you said
Mhm.
that on the factors market, so household what? Supply,
Yes.
and then firms demand.
Yes, because who owns the factors of production? Households.
Household. Okay.
So households supply, firms demand. There will be 3 questions, and I will tell you now, Michelle won't touch this. It's one of those things that they use to examine your understanding. She will brush this side, and you will get a question that asks about the supply of labor. The supply of labor. And we are learning that from the factor market. Household supply and firms demand. we will get into detail when we understand firstly the workings of the goods market.
Okay, so when you say we're gonna get into details, do you mean as to, like you said, that household supply labor
Mhm.
to the factor market,
Yes,
or the content of that supply and the demands?
yes, yes.
Okay.
So I mean, once we understand, because it is just an off-ramp, this is an off-ramp that I want us to understand. But in order for us to understand it, we need to first understand this as per the requirements of our guide. Where we
Alright,
are
thank you.
looking at supply, we will be looking at this side, firms, we are saying they supply. Households, demand. I'm doing the introduction to Unit 4. In this market, in the goods market, firms and households, they interact until they reach an agreement through what we know as the price mechanism. The price mechanism. What does, so when we talk of the price mechanism, we're saying, what is the role of prices in the goods market? What is the role of prices here? What is the role of prices? They act as a signal. In the goods market, remember, we want monetary value for goods and services. And at the same time, households need to be comfortable with that price. So the price acts as a signal to firms and households. It's a signal. And we will get to a state of balance. We will get to a state of balance when there is agreement. We will get to a state of balance when there is agreement, where the price at which the households are willing and able to buy for is the same price that firms will accept. Right. There is two aspects of the goods market. Number one is demand. This is your Unit 4. The second part of Unit 4 is your supply by firms. Right? Shall we move on? Happiness. Now, here's the key. This is what I forgot to mention it. Please take notes. Please write it down. And it's going to come up many times in the groups. Which units are we going to be tested in the KCQs? That question is going to come up a lot of times. I will tell you now. KCQ1 will cover Unit 1 up to 3. Is that clear? Your KCQ1, it will cover Unit 1, 2, and 3. It's a total of 10 questions, and you've got 1 hour to answer those 10 questions. You cannot do control fine. You need to understand it. They test your understanding, interpretation of the theories that we've spoken about in Unit 1, 2, and 3. Happiness? Unit KCQ2 will cover Unit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's your KCQ2. Right now, we should be able to be in a position to answer KCQ1. Right? At the present moment, based on the 2 lessons that we've had, we should be able to answer KCQ number 1. right? You will get questions such as, in the factor market, or okay, let me rephrase it. In the circular flow of income and spending, goods and services flow via dash to dash. That's the first part. In the circular flow of income and spending, goods and services flow via the what? Market? Anyone? In the
Goods market.
flow of income and spending, goods and services flow via the what? The goods market. 2, households. And factors of production flow via the what?
Factors market.
Factor market to firms. Right? Once you understand that, they will throw in questions that seek to understand that, whether you understand what flows where. Right? You will be given questions about opportunity cost. You will be given questions about scarcity. Right. In the next session on Friday, we will start to look at demand, which is the one side of the goods market. One side, because there are two sides where households and firms meet to agree here.